Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Yo, what's up, boys and girls? It's your boy Swolelax here, and I'm back at it again with another video. This time, something just a little bit different. Today, let's have an honest discussion about Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I know we've had a lot of fun in games these past couple days, especially with the new release of our shiny new toy, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. For those of you unaware, which is like, maybe 2 of you, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is the next evolution inside of Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive play. It is a rival to Magic the Gathering Arena, online Pokemon, Hearthstone, etc. Essentially, it's Konami's attempt to modernize Yu-Gi-Oh! For the online space. This game carries a pretty robust crafting system, deck builder, pack opening, and also duel experience. And I'm not gonna lie, I was actually kind of worried. Like many of us, we've been burned before by Konami with big promises of the next big thing. But truth be told, this really is it. Everyone and their mother are playing and streaming and grinding this game right now. It's so big that SEMO has returned to streaming after 4 years. Konami did a pretty phenomenal job. But I have to say, while first impressions of this game are very high from me personally, but also other people, there is a little bit to be desired with this game going forward. And there are some things that I think that you need to be aware of if you are getting into this game almost completely blind, a returning player, or even if you're someone that's more familiar with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Even if you've already started playing the game, hopefully this discussion and some of the tips that I have at the end of this video will help you better navigate your Master Duel experience to make it more enjoyable for you and your friends. And let's get into the meat and potatoes. So, first impressions are great. This thing has a very firm handshake and says hello to your parents in a very respectful way. It's got beautiful graphics, a beautiful soundtrack, great UI. Pack opening experience is great. I think the community buzz speaks for itself. Let's have our truthfully honest discussion here. Would I recommend this game? Yes and no. I would recommend this game because the deck building feels amazing and crafting decks is easier than it ever has been. They really did a great job of making every pack opening feel cool and exciting and refreshing, even when you're pulling cards that effectively will just be dust. Speaking of dust, the crafting system in this game is a great way to help finish off deck cores and get meta-defining staples. In addition, it's a pretty neat way of unlocking packs and gaining access to a card pool that you might not have available to you. Playing online in the ladder is a lot of fun. I know a lot of people have been grinding out not only for the battle pass, but to get top rank. And while there are some problems with the ladder, and particularly all online ladders, as I think some people forget, the queue times at the moment are pretty short, and I think that the experience overall is a very seamless, non-interruptive, and relatively untoxic place. And on that, the main component of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the duels. Dueling in this game, oh my gosh. Maybe it's because the game is new, maybe the luster hasn't quite worn off for me yet, and maybe it's just the constant effects and array of dopamine that Konami is just pushing into my mind, but it really does feel smooth and great to put down cards, to pendulum summon, to XC summon, to synchro summon, to hit or burn your opponent for a game, to check the graveyard, to banish cards, to do anything. They've made it very flashy and very cool. And while in other card games, and I think eventually it could maybe get obnoxious, it really does seem like they found a good, healthy balance between like flashy and cool, but also non-interruptive and also non-immersion breaking. Like think Duel Links and how you have to essentially turn off everything to just play the game. You get the anime voice lines, the voice bubbles, the animations for playing the cards down, for the ace boss monster summons. It's a lot and can really stretch out the time of playing a game and break the illusion of the duel. I'd argue that Master Duel has hyper moments with doing much less and with smooth, subtle motion graphics that make playing cards and summoning monsters really effective. The primary focus of the game, I think they've nailed. And all the extra features that come along with it are also very polished. There's a spectator mode for tournaments and streaming. You can make custom duel rooms to play against your friends with custom parameters. There are tons of free gems. I haven't even touched on the fact that you get tons of free gems to start, so building your collection is really easy. The battle pass is also free, so if you're really looking to grind and play this game, that's a great investment. You'll make your gems back plus some. And of course, we gotta talk about that killer soundtrack. It is so good. If you look it up online, you'll definitely find some bangers, but if you play through the solo mode, it really does solidify how great it sounds. And there's tons of great stuff that Master Duel offers to its player base, especially for someone like me who's been playing the game since essentially the game came out. Now, it took a little bit of a break, but came back in 2016 and have been playing ever since. And honestly, this is the game changer for Yu-Gi-Oh! With an asterisk, there's still time to mess it up, but I mean, like I said, first impressions are very solid. But I said that I would and wouldn't recommend this game to people. So while I would recommend this game for everyone that would want those things, or if you're a seasoned Yu-Gi-Oh veteran, I might not necessarily recommend this game because this game is not very new and casually focused, if that makes any sense. This is not a surprise, and this is not something that they've hidden away, that they've come out and said, no, this is how we want to target this game, is to more competitively based players and people who have been looking forward to modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but in a digital space. It's not necessarily made for a casual user interest for new and returning players, in my opinion. And from what I've been talking to people who are in that sector, you know who you are, I can agree that there are some flaws and glaring issues that might need to be addressed. I don't know. So like, to start, you have to know what you're looking for. If you jump into this game knowing nothing about modern Yu-Gi-Oh, about how the format works, if you're not quite sure what kind of deck you want to build or what cards to really chase after, then you might have a bad time. Sure, there are tutorials and YouTube videos out there that might tell you to do a certain thing or do this, do that. And while I have my own input on that, I think that if you're going to this game completely blind and try to figure it out, it's not intuitive enough for new and returning players to really gain a grasp on it. And for people that want a more casual / chill / passive dueling experience, there isn't even a casual mode built into the game, unless you're playing with friends, of course. Yeah, there's solo mode, which I think essentially counts for that in my opinion, but that is fairly limited. And so right now there's only an online ranked ladder that you have to jump into, and if you don't necessarily want to climb the ranks, that's fine. But for those of you who are expecting to get to those higher ranks with your favorite deck, it's going to be an interesting journey. And this goes double time for those decks that have had tons of legacy support over time. And if you don't know what those cards do, there's not necessarily a great environment right now to safely learn tricks and combos and whatnot. But like I've been saying, I don't necessarily think this game is marketed towards that audience. Like, modern Yu-Gi-Oh is not very user-friendly, and you can see from Reddit or Steam reviews or people who kind of just passively play Yu-Gi-Oh or jump back into this game that there's all this talk about auto win cards and blah blah blah. And yeah, that's kind of true, but a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players, myself included, have kind of evolved to the sense to where we know what to expect from Yu-Gi-Oh as a grand sense. So we're very much desensitized to the idea of these crazy combos and boards. We're like, yeah, this checks out. Now, I'm not saying that we're all way too smart for these casual players. Like, modern Yu-Gi-Oh is not user-friendly. It's also not necessarily hard to get a grasp on. Like, as long as you are able to compartmentalize and kind of learn a little bit about your deck and how it plays and how the format works, then you'll be just fine. Yu-Gi-Oh is not like other card games and is not always super intuitive, but that's part of the fun. Moving on from that, because I do feel like that's more of a modern Yu-Gi-Oh discussion as a whole, being free to play in this game is possible, but definitely takes some grinding. And like I said before, you have to kind of know what you're looking for. Like, you can grind and gather gems, especially because they give you so much. You can build a couple deck cores, maybe some staples, but you do have to strategize and prioritize what you're going to be spending on, because after a certain point, the gems do run out. And I more recently gained some new perspective on this because this is a fair point. Casual strategies are super, ultra rare. Thank you. It's super expensive. Like Dark Magician and Blue Eyes and a lot of these more casual strategies have ultra rare printings. So not only are they harder to pull, they're also harder and also not worth it to craft. And so while someone like me who knows those decks are trash and I don't want to play them and I'd rather build something else, or I'm going in with the knowledge that, yeah, this is expensive, but you know, whatever. Someone who's new, returning, or casual are probably going to have a much harder time building a deck that is relatively suboptimal or not as good comparatively to someone that's a free-to-play player or someone that's going to be searching for particular meta staples or a meta deck. A lot of meta deck and meta deck cores are pretty low rarity outside of a few chase cards. But like I keep on saying, if you don't know what to look for and if you don't know what to stay away from, you will get burnt by this game. I think Duel Links players especially are going to have a hard time fitting into this game because it's so much different. Duel Links definitely deserves a discussion all on its own, because, you know, kudos for Konami, but they finally found a way to effectively have set rotation inside of Yu-Gi-Oh! The game is so controllable and so compartmentalized from everything else where, yeah, you have concepts and staples, like for example, Cosmic Cyclone or Econ in that game, things that can transcend different metas. But for the most part, the decks rotate out and whatever is good at the top is predominantly what is new inside of the game. For modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, that's not always the case. But I digress on a lot of these points. I feel like that was a lot of negativity, but straight up, those are more problems that I think I have with the general perception of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And how people are projecting upon Master Duel. I think a lot of these reasons are the reasons why people are either upset or maybe they're confused. Very biasly, I think this game is great if you really like Yu-Gi-Oh! And really like modern Yu-Gi-Oh! As of right now, there's not a lot of support for legacy formats or alternative ways to play. And if you have a passive interest inside this game or are playing it for this first week or first month, then I think it's going to be different for everyone. But regardless of who you are, I have some tips that you yourself can take to flourish inside of Master Duel and to greatly enhance your experience. The first tip I can give you is craft staples first. These will be your most important cards that you can change in and out of decks regardless of format, regardless of cards. There's a lot of cards that are really low rarity that are really powerful. Things like Forbidden Chalice, things like Torrential Tribute, Econ, Book of Moon is a rare. But I would urge you to focus in on ultra rare staples, things like Ash Blossoms, things like Max C, Nibiru, Effect Veiler. Most of the pot cards like Desires, Duality, Prosperity, Extravagance, I would say focus on these, and you can kind of focus in tandem with getting deck cores because as you open more packs, you'll probably be opening yourself up to more cards and a greater collection, of course. But if you're really wondering what to look for, prioritize getting staples. The best method I can say to do this is to avoid the master packs at the moment. So like get the meta pack that's currently featured or whatever is there. And then from there, you can either open the secret packs, then you can dust or dismantle cards you don't want or don't need to make them into bigger, better cards. Then if you want to widen your scope, if you're looking for something super specific, then try out the master packs. It's almost always worth it to buy the 1,000 gem 10 packs because opening one is usually pretty good, but for the value, it's much better and you get a bunch of dust fodder and yada, yada, yada. This will help you greatly optimize your deck building experience. Another tip for that, somewhat, is playing solo mode in the tutorials. So you do get a lot of gems and really free cards and free cosmetics from playing solo mode. And while it might be a little bit slow to play considering the fact that like there's a lot of scenarios and you have to go in and out of the menu, sometimes it's just like a tutorial essentially inside of a story mode lore bit. But I do think this is a really cool way to play the game and also to get a lot of free gems and free cards. The Monarch one specifically is a lot of fun and really cool to play. Again, great soundtrack. But if you do spend the time to play out all the scenarios, then you will be rewarded kindly. And my last two tips for you are more of a mental game note, an inner game, if you will. Don't stress about ranked or losing your rank. Ranked on online games mean essentially nothing. This is coming from someone who missed
Diamond and Valorant 3 times.
I'm not salty or jealous, but there is a sunk cost fallacy that a lot of people like convince themselves of where they, you know, they're like, I put a lot of time into this game, and so I feel like I deserve this higher rank. And especially in this game, because the rank system is best of ones, there's a lot that goes into that in terms of luck factor, and the fact that there's a lot of casual and free-to-play decks. The ladder for online meta is completely different than what you might see in a more traditional tournament structure. There's a ton of people inside of Platinum. It's not like a big deal. Like, it's hype to get there, but you could probably and feasibly get there inside of like, I don't know, a weekend. It's not really something that you have to like work towards, and it's really hard to get to. So just have fun with it. Like, yeah, you'll run into some BS, but for the most part, just have fun as much as possible and try your best. Just know that you got this. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say right now about Master Duel. I do have a lot more extended thoughts that I do want to deep dive into, but for the most part, I think that's what I'm going to leave you with. And if you guys have any thoughts or opinions or have been playing Master Duel, let me know in the comment section down below. Do you guys love it? Do you guys hate it? If you guys like this video, make sure to leave it a like. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming down the pipeline, and it's a great way to help love and support the channel. I always appreciate you guys stopping by the live streams and letting me know your guys' opinions. But yeah, what do you guys think of Master Duel? I think it's pretty cool so far. Anyways, that's all I got to say about this. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.